Tonight, on First at 9 this Tuesday, the 2nd of September 2025. Sheath your swords. President pledges zero tolerance for war or ethnic unrest in the north, urging citizens to resist any revival of divisive racial politics. Celebrating legacy, Sri Lanka Freedom Party marks 74 years with calls for unity from the party chairman. SLFP's former General Secretary, meanwhile, challenges the legitimacy of the current leadership and the legality of the celebrations. Picket pile up. Retired state employees protest for fair pensions. Doctors strike over request for disciplinary action against colleagues. University Teachers Federation threatens future industrial action over staffing issues. High-stakes visit. Italy's Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs Maria Tripodi to arrive for a 2-day visit, marking the highest-level Italian visit to Sri Lanka in nearly 10 years.
Kalin baby serve rupial 90කට. Kalin baby podi හැමෝටමයි.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9, Sri Lanka's most trusted news source. I'm Tatya Aranayake, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. We begin with your top story. President Anura Dissanayake reaffirmed the government's steadfast commitment to national unity and peace, declaring that no form of war or communal unrest will be permitted to resurface in the northern province under any circumstances. Addressing the inaugural ceremony of the Northern Coconut Triangle Initiative, the President urged all citizens to stand against any resurgence of racially charged political narratives. As part of his official tour of the northern province, President Anura Dissanayake inaugurated the Northern Coconut Triangle in Puthukudi this morning. Coinciding with World Coconut Day, the initiative aims to cultivate coconut in 16,000 acres of land in the northern province by 2025, with plans to expand to 40,000 acres within the next 3 years.
The people of the northern province can take pride in the inauguration of the country's second largest coconut triangle. Coconut will be cultivated across 16,000 acres within the year. In recent years, the country faced both a sharp rise in fertilizer prices and a persistent shortage. As a result, for nearly 5 years, even state-owned coconut plantations did not have access to proper fertilizers. However, following the government's recent efforts, the Russian Federation donated 55,000 metric tons of muriate of potash fertilizer to Sri Lanka. While the current market price for coconut fertilizer ranges from 9,000 rupees to 9,500 rupees, the Ministry of Plantation has taken steps to offer it at a significantly subsidized rate of 4,000 rupees. Sri Lanka has witnessed a notable increase in revenue from coconut-related exports this year compared to the previous year. Many among you present today have spent the greater part of your lives enduring the harsh realities of war, a tragedy that stands as one of Sri Lanka's darkest chapters in history. That prolonged conflict laid the groundwork for the rise of racial politics in Sri Lanka. Over time, ethnic divisions were exploited to gain political power both in the north and in the south. However, that destructive political culture was decisively rejected by the people during the most recent elections. Yet today, we are witnessing attempts by certain groups to resurrect the very same racial politics in a bid to reclaim lost influence. This racial politics has never served the common man. As a government, we are firmly committed to preventing the re-emergence of racial politics in this country. Every citizen must stand against any resurgence of racially charged political narratives. A political faction operating in the south is actively trying to spread irrational fear, claiming that a new war is brewing in the north. At the same time, firearms are being recovered in parts of Colombo and gun violence has occurred in various regions. Some even attempt to downplay these incidents. However, this narrative changes when similar events occur in the north. Then it is framed as a sign of impending war. This is part of a political culture that attempts to manufacture fear and division. This government will not allow this fear-based political manipulation to take root again. This government is committed to prevent the waging of a new war and will reduce the exacerbation of ethnic tensions. That is our current objective, and we will not shy away from taking bold and even controversial decisions to achieve it. We will not allow the outdated racist voices choices of the past to derail the progressive steps we take. Parents who lost their children during the war deserve answers. They have a right to know the truth. Farmers who have inherited land deserve to legally own and cultivate what is rightfully theirs. Our government is committed to restoring these rights of all communities across the country.
As part of the ceremony, the President distributed land deeds linked to government subsidy programs to selected farmers from across 5 districts of the Northern Province. Meanwhile, the first coconut seed production unit in the north was officially inaugurated in Palay today. Under the patronage of the President, Derana formally inaugurated the facility and planted a ceremonial coconut sapling. Later in the day, the President visited a coconut-focused exhibition organized by the Coconut Development Authority. As part of the tour, the President also conducted an inspection visit to the Kachutiu Island yesterday. The visit was accompanied by several cabinet ministers and officers of the Sri Lanka Navy.
රුපියල් 8,900ක මාසික වාරිකයකට brand new TVS X100 යතුරු පැදියක් ගන්න.
A party steeped in political legacy, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party celebrated its 74th anniversary today. An event to commemorate the party's anniversary took place at the SLFP party headquarters in Colombo today, attended by the party's leaders, members and supporters. Meanwhile, addressing the media earlier today, former General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, MP Dayasri Jayasekara, claims that SLFP's anniversary celebration is illegal since the party is still led by office bearers appointed unlawfully.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party was established under the leadership of former Prime Minister SWRD Bandaranaike in 1951. Creating 3 presidents and 7 prime ministers, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party transformed the country's political landscape by defeating several governments at key chapters of history. A ceremony to commemorate the 74th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was held at the party headquarters this afternoon. Leaders of several other political parties too were invited to attend anniversary celebrations.
Freedom to engage in politics was practiced regardless of whichever government was in power. However, today it is apparent that freedom is gradually receding. Subtle political witch hunts are taking place as we speak. I too was a part of this witch hunt at one point in time. I was placed in remand custody for 52 days. What they are doing right now is abolishing the multi-party system and paving the way for their party to remain in power. Several individuals that the incumbent government themselves called incompetent now sit in parliament. Anurudisa Nayaka himself once said that he was the only competent leader to be elected. Everyone else, according to him, is incompetent. By now, so many lies have been perpetuated. I was the second politician to be remanded since this government assumed power. However, had I not been imprisoned, I would have ensured a comprehensive NPP defeat. At the local government polls in Badulla. I recently attended a meeting of the opposition leader. At the meeting, I said that Sajit's time ahead looks auspicious now that Ranil was put behind bars. Sajit was keen on visiting Ranil Wickremesinghe at his hour of need. That is good. I asked the two to unite before all of us join the union. We are ready to cling on to an alliance. The alternative is for us to take a sidestep out of politics while the two of them set up a government. We can even stop engaging in politics. I say this because we are ready to support anyone capable of defeating this government. This is where 5 presidents were made. In 2015, our secretary and chairman were at odds. Subsequently, the party disintegrated into several factions and paved the way for the incumbent government, which claimed only 3% of the votes in the past, to assume power. Had our party not faced an internal crisis, we would have won the presidential election that year. If so, the SLFP would still be in power in 2025. Is now really the right time to initiate legal action? What we should focus on is uplifting the party. We must unite to formulate a program to help those suffering from suppression.
තවත් නඩුවකට නීතිඥ මාත්‍රයක් කම්බෙන්න වෙලාව දීලා තිනවා. අපේ පක්ෂය රැකගෙන ඉදිරියට ගිහිල්ලා
We must unite to formulate a program to help the oppressed. We need to protect this party, let it grow and take it down a new path. We need to hand over the reins of this party to new faces. Young political leaders must take up leadership positions within the party. While I occupy the office of the party's chairman, I have no intention of being elected the president. Many who dream of being the president yearn for this office. I ask them to join the party. Make a name for themselves. Win the presidential election and prove your competence. Unity is strength.
Meanwhile, former General Secretary Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Dayasiri Jayasekara, asserts that incumbent SLFP chairman Nimal Siripala De Silva and the party's current General Secretary Duminda Disanayake have no right to organise and lead the anniversary celebration.
Nimal Siripala De Silva, who led the SLFP's anniversary celebrations today, was not lawfully appointed to the position he now holds. Similarly, Duminda Disanayake too is not a lawfully appointed office bearer. Therefore, neither one of them have the right to organize and lead the anniversary celebrations. This anniversary celebration is illegal. I have filed a case in court over these concerns. After the courts render its verdict, we will put an end to political careers of these unlawfully appointed office bearers who pole vault for political gains. Furthermore, I urge Sri Lanka Freedom Party members in the grassroots to stop working with these leaders who have betrayed the essence of the party. I was not invited for the 74th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. All resolutions made at the event are illegal.
Demonstrations by retired public servants who demanded solutions to pension-related woes led to the disruption of traffic along the Galle and Colombo Road. Meanwhile, halfway across the country, patients yearning medical attention at the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital were inconvenienced by a doctor's strike launched today.
A group of retirees staged a protest today in front of the Presidential Secretariat demanding a solution to pension anomalies experienced by public servants who retired between 2020 and 2024. The demonstration was organized by the 2020-2024 Retirees Alliance. In response, security measures were heightened around the Presidential Secretariat, with the riot police also being deployed to deter potential unrest. The protest also prompted significant traffic congestion around the Goalface area. Later, 6 representatives of the alliance were granted an opportunity to meet a presidential coordinating secretary. At the meeting, the alliance was promised a discussion with the relevant officials of the Ministry of Finance within a month. Subsequent to the promise made, the protesters decided to disperse peacefully. Meanwhile, patients expecting medical assistance at the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital were inconvenienced due to a one-day strike initiated by all doctors serving at the hospital. According to reports, the strike was launched in protest of certain actions taken by the hospital's director. Particularly, doctors at the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital were outraged by the hospital director's request filed with the Ministry of Health, urging disciplinary inquiries against 3 specialist doctors. According to reports, the director's request for inquiries come off the back of an accusation that the 3 specialist doctors concerned performed a surgery at a private hospital during official working hours. Although the deputy director of the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital has been made aware of the surgery at the private hospital, the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital's director claims that he was not informed of the surgery. Off the back of these developments, doctors at the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital withdrew from all patient care services today, citing multiple grievances against the director, including the disciplinary complaint. The Government Medical Officers Association warned that strike could further escalate if appropriate action is not taken regarding the conduct of the hospital director.
An incident that took place at the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital has been misrepresented to the Ministry of Health. Citing the misrepresented facts, an attempt has been made to initiate an inquiry. Furthermore, information on this incident has been disseminated to social media and mainstream media. If no action is taken against the director in question, this strike could escalate to encompass the entirety of the Ratnapura district or even the Sabaragamuwa province.
Meanwhile, the Federation of University Teachers Association also threatened union action if issues including outstanding vacancies at the universities are left unfilled.
We acknowledge that the government has in fact increased salaries. However, in the case of university lecturers, there has actually been a reduction in the overall remuneration package. While the basic salary has been increased, allowances and corresponding percentages have been cut. As a result, the total take-home pay is now lower than it was previously. If appropriate solutions are not provided, we are prepared to initiate union action and strikes.
හොඳම ෆෝන් එකක් ගන්න. ළඟම අපාන්ස් එකට යන්න.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuri emphasizes that the duty of driving transformative change in the nation rests not solely with political leaders but equally with public officials. Speaking at an event yesterday, the Prime Minister called for a comprehensive transformation across all sectors of the country.
The presentation of appointment letters to new officers recruited on a limited basis for the 3rd grade of Sri Lanka Educational Administrative Service was held yesterday under the patronage of Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. A total of 405 officers received their official letters of appointment during the occasion.
We have no intention of perpetuating the current education system. We will change Sri Lanka's education. At the moment, we are reaping the benefits of right decisions we made 2 to 4 decades ago. Unfortunately, we are also suffering the repercussions of some bad decisions too. The crisis we grapple today spans across the country's economic, social and cultural dimensions. Therefore, any effort to develop this country must involve comprehensive transformation across all sectors. We have begun implementing that comprehensive transformation. Merely swapping in a new government in place of the old will not inspire that transformation. Transformation in Sri Lanka's state administrative sector is also imperative. This is what we expect out of these state sector reforms. It is the responsibility of the administrative sector to address and resolve these challenges. In the past, the public sector was often viewed as a burden, leading to restrictions on new recruitments to state sector positions. We believe that a strong and effective public sector is essential for a thriving nation, but the sector must operate with efficiency and purpose. With that, here's a look at more thoughts shared in the political arena today.
Sarath Fonseca is the same person who claimed that firing occurred when white flags were waved. He says one thing when he's abroad and something completely different here at home. He is a politician now. That is why we don't say anything that could hurt his feelings. He played a major role in ending the civil war and we continue to hold deep respect for him. That is why we don't say anything that might hurt his feelings. If he had not made the white flag statement internationally, but instead mentioned the ceasefire, our war heroes would not have been dragged into war crimes charges. Yet here in Sri Lanka, he has come forward and said the complete opposite. He has now fully embraced the role of a politician. Gotabe has not yet received such a letter. Between 2015 and 2020, he was also asked to appear before the CID and the FCID. But that government lost power after just a few years. It seems this current government is heading down the same road. We have great respect for our war heroes. Mahinda Rajapaksa fulfilled responsibilities expected from a true war hero, responsibilities that were taken from Sarath Fonseca. Once Sarath Fonseca entered politics, he ended up making our war heroes targets internationally. In politics, he couldn't even achieve 1/10 of what he did on the battlefield. He failed to build alliances with political leaders and lacked the political acumen to move forward. Now he makes various claims, including about a 48-hour ceasefire. But in light of everything that's happened, these statements seem almost like a joke. If there had been a 48-hour ceasefire, Prabhakaran could have escaped. From his speech, it is clear he's aiming for a position. While he undoubtedly is a great leader on the battlefield, he simply does not hold the same weight in the political arena. There's no issue in rounding up thieves. That must be done. But when people are being taken into custody, underworld leaders must be laughing. Before coming into power, this government promised to recover money allegedly stolen by the Rajapakshas. If that money ever reaches the treasury, the people of this country should enjoy the benefit, the economy should flourish. None of that is happening. The government is simply putting on a show for the public. Even though the joint opposition is only becoming visible now, we've been warning that they have been working together behind the scenes. If their plan is to divide, steal and then come together to protect each other, that won't work under our government. They may have done that in the past, but that will no longer be possible in the future. Italy's Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Maria Tripodi, is expected to undertake an official visit to Sri Lanka from the 3rd to the 5th of this month. The visit is the highest level incoming visit from Italy to Sri Lanka in almost a decade. During her visit, Deputy Minister Tripodi will co-chair along with Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment Arun Hemachandra the inaugural session of the Sri Lanka-Italy political consultations. A memorandum of understanding on the establishment of a political consultations mechanism is due to be signed during the visit, providing a structured framework for dialogue between the two countries.
Deputy Minister Tripodi is also scheduled to call on Prime Minister Dr. Haraniyam Surya and also hold discussions with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath. Diplomatic relations between the two countries were established in 1952. Welcome back to First at 9. Now taking you to business news, the Colombo Bourse closed in red today, resulted by losses in counters such as Ceylon Tobacco Company, Sampath Bank and National Development Bank. The Colombo Stock Exchange All-Share Price Index settled 0.34% lower at 20,990.67 points. The more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 dropped 0.72%, ending at 6,027.61 points. Market turnover crossed 7.5 billion rupees, with the materials sector closing as the top contributor. The capital goods sector was the second highest contributor to turnover, while the sector index decreased by 0.68%. Foreign participation in the market remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net buyers. With that, let's take a look at the day's foreign exchange rates. Gold prices scaled the $3,500 per ounce level to hit a record high today as mounting expectations for a U.S. Federal Reserve interest rate cut this month lifted demand for the precious metal. Spot gold was up 0.1% at $3,480.57 per ounce as of 11:25 GMT after hitting a record high of $3,508.50 earlier in the session. Bullion gained 32% so far this year. U.S. gold futures for December delivery gained 0.9% to $3,549. Traders are currently pricing in a 90% chance of a 25 basis point Fed rate cut on September 17th. Non-yielding gold typically performs well in a low interest rate environment. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Ada Derana First at 9. Thank you. Have a great night.